Now call this Bryan Independent School District meeting to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. The time is 6 o'clock. Wish to extend a warm welcome to everyone present. I ask that you please turn off the sound on all electronic devices. And are we going to have a pledge tonight?
We kept it as a workshop. We're just sticking with the workshop protocol of no pledge, unless you guys want to change the
just do it ourselves.
It's on my script, so
I said let's do it.
It's okay. It's okay.
I appreciate that, Dr. Barr.
We can do it if y'all want to just
Yes,
say it as
please.
a board.
Well, we might as well. We already talked about it.
All
So
right.
let's do it.
David got it rolling.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You want to say the Texas pledge? I honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. Okay, thank you.
That's what the sun was.
And one other thing to celebrate, I'm just going to say, it's not till Saturday, but we're going to be out of town, but this is Miss Benford's birthday on Saturday, but so.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Felicia.
Yes.
Let's give a big round of applause for
Yeah.
board member Felicia Benford.
You want a standing ovation? Congratulations,
Thank
Felicia.
you, the big 22.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Sam, maybe go say anything. It's your birthday.
Next, we have some spotlights, and starting with the Central Lake Community Partnership Award to H&O Trucking Company for a donation of $17,000 for district-wide T-shirts. And my understanding is Ms. Badillo is present. Yes, there she is. Okay.
You can just stand right here. Perfect. Okay. Good evening, Board of Trustees. It's my honor to present one of this month's Essential 8 Awards to Hector and Olivia Badillo, the owners of H&O Trucking in Bryan, Texas. Earlier this summer, when convocation planning began, we had the idea of reaching out to sponsors within the community in an attempt to pay for every Bryan ISD employee to receive a free T-shirt to kick off the school year together. Little did we know, it would only take one phone call to H&O Trucking, who then wrote a $17,000 check, enough to cover the entire cost of all 3,000 staff T-shirts. Not only was this an incredible donation, but it also highlighted the special generosity of our very own. Hector and Olivia are both graduates of Bryan High School and currently have several kids in our school system. This support of giving back to Bryan ISD reiterates our why. Lastly, in our most recent staff newsletter, we asked the staff to submit something impactful that they took away from convocation this year. While we had an overwhelming number of responses, several of them mentioned the T-shirts. I'd like to share one of them with you. One person said, "One aspect that had a great impact on me this year was the fact that all teachers, staff, and everyone involved in Bryan ISD were united wearing the same shirt. It showed that we were all in this together, and together we make a difference in the lives of our students." Olivia, you and Hector are the epitome of the Essential 8 character traits, and we are so proud that you are a part of the Bryan ISD community. Thank you.
And those are great shirts. They
Yes,
fit about as well
if the
as
family
any.
wants to come up and take a photo, that would be great.
Should we?
Family members, come on up.
Should we take one with her?
Yay.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Should we take a picture with her?
While they get ready for the picture, we see people wearing the T-shirts all over town. The employees are wearing them.
Should we take a picture with her?
Y'all want to take a picture?
Yeah.
Or in
That's
front?
Have them
Okay,
come up here, and then we'll just gather.
that's a good idea.
That's very generous.
All right, if you don't mind, we're going to take one with them in front, and we'll just stand.
Thank y'all so much.
Yes, that's incredible.
That's perfect. Soccer.
Yep,
Got us all?
I can see everybody. All right, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Got it. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
and along the same vein here, we have another Essential 8 Community Partnership Award for Bryan ISD Education Foundation. And the presenter is listed as Donna Willett, and there she is.
Good evening. I'm here to recognize the Bryan ISD Education Foundation and everything they do to support the students and staff of Bryan ISD. From the thousands of dollars awarded in student scholarships, to teacher grants, to staff who are awarded their tuition or partial tuition to finish their education degrees or go through certification programs, and now the addition of the Comfort Dogs at 3 of our Bryan ISD campuses and the plans to grow that program. All of this is available because of the fundraising efforts of this group. Talking tonight specifically about the hometown reunion. What a great event, and personally, as I sat and watched folks connecting, it was so cool. Whether it was alumni visiting with other alumni that they graduated or about or at the same time, or folks like me connecting with parents of friends of my kids that I hadn't seen in a while, or educators connecting with those students that they had previously. Pulling off the hometown reunion, I am sure, was no easy feat. But because of the time and the effort put into it, it felt like it was. And knowing that everyone involved, their focus was on supporting Bryan ISD. Sarah Braden is an essential part of that. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for showing up for our students and our staff. And this is our opportunity to again say thank you for living the Essential 8.
Ms. Braden, do you happen to have any information, like numbers or anything, or are y'all still calculating? I'm putting her on the spot.
I know. So we do not have any official numbers, but I can say that we are incredibly pleased with what we raised that night. We had 900 community members come to that space to raise money for Bryan ISD, and one number that I can give is in our donation moment. We raised just shy of $80,000 in just a matter of a few minutes. So we're super thankful, and Hometown's been a game changer. We are able to give back about 3 times what we were able to give back 3 years ago, and it's largely because of that event. So the numbers will come, but we are really grateful for our community.
Did our MC help at all that y'all had? He seemed okay.
Our MC was amazing. Thank you, David Stennis, for showing up. It was a team effort.
You did a great job.
Yeah, if I had known we were getting the award, I would have brought some friends. So Donna can be in the picture with me.
He did do such a great job.
Sarah, can you tell me what the flashing hat was worth so I can deduct that from the donation?
You don't want to know.
My wife loved it. Yeah, she did it. Wants me to wear it everywhere. Okay, one more spotlight. Viking Graphics and Animation Club Kids of Characters. And I'm sure not everybody, including me, knows exactly what that is. But Brian Merrill and Brian McGurk, I hope I got that right, BHS teacher, will present.
Yay.
I appreciate the opportunity to highlight the incredible work of our students. And Mr. McGurk, if you haven't had the fortune to hang out with the kids and get to know them, then I would highly encourage it. It's a wonderful group. Mr. McGurk, why don't you come on over here and we can look at the board. They've been working on for multiple years, taking the Essential 8 and really developing them out and giving them characters. And so they've spent quite a bit of time in every detail, and so it's been fun to watch the legacy of graduates continue to do work, and they hand it down to an amazing group of students. And so we're very, very pleased and honored with the work that they've done. You'll remember last year at the parade, the downtown parade, they decorated it, and we had I think an agreement where if they were able to create the characters, we would host the party at my house. And so we had a wonderful night of just getting to know each other. So I'm so very thankful, Mr. McGurk. You do an amazing job of not only teaching and working with our students, but going above and beyond. And you've done that for many years. I know that when when I'm around you and in the community, it's fun to watch just generations come up and praise you and talk about what a family you've created, and just what a legacy you've established. It's just really remarkable. So thank you for all the work prior to the work that we're going to celebrate tonight. It's just exciting to see, and truly it's an inspiration. So I'd like to say a few words.
Mr. McGuirk, could you have the students turn around? They have the characters that they have created on their T-shirts, which is in relationship to each one of our character traits. And they did every bit of that. Whoop, I'm taking your...
No. We also have a very special guest with us tonight that I didn't know I could manage to get her back from Texas A&M. If you have a young child in the district that likes the characters, the whole concept of putting characters with the essential 8 traits for the original project was developed, researched, and everything originally done by Stix Peck, class of 24. She's at Texas A&M right now, and was lucky enough to get her back. It's good to see old family. Y'all can hear me? I'll put the teacher voice on. Oh, okay. Okay, so we have 8 characters representing each trait, and if you go into what the teachers have access to at the district level, Stix, could you run back and get my box? And Vicki, could you come up here? Oh, wait, Vicki, just bring the box up here. I'll try to be quick because these guys want to get on. Thank you. So we have T-shirts made that we are selling. We're trying to find a less clunky way to do it, and the person that is organizing the person that's organizing and manufacturing our shirts for us is a Bryan graduate and has her own company here locally and does a ridiculous job. Vicki. So if you want to see the craziest piece of embroidery you've ever seen, Vicki commissioned a jacket from her.
Oh, look at the jacket.
It's 26 colors, 200,000 stitches, and Robin hasn't told me how much it's going to be yet, but I probably won't be driving the same car next week. So we'll see. But anyway, the characters, Boris the Wolf, he's from Eastern Europe, representing leadership, and all of the characters, the names, even the clothing has been researched as to what a typical representative of that trait from each culture would be in it. They're all from different cultures. Isan, or Sani for short, represents philanthropy, and she is from the Middle East. Kuvianak is a sea otter. A lot of people mistake him for a panda because sea otters just have the white head instead of the little brown hat. And representing optimism, and Kuvianak it means joy in Inuit. So he is from Inuit culture. Yoon, or Yoon Young, is our little bunny representing kindness from Korea. And George, representing work ethic, is from the UK. And George basically represents a good worker. That's what the name came from. Another Yoon. This is the Essential 8 logo with our guys. So that was the first thing that one of the people who is sadly absent, she had a really bad headache today and she just didn't come. There's Kuvi again. Hao is from Vietnam. And I'm spacing what Hao mean in Vietnamese. But he has the red stripe for the courage. In the clothing, the Essential 8 has official color codes from the district, and we put the color codes in the clothing, in their accessories. Stix is wearing Tatanka. He's a bison. He's from the Lakota tribe, and Tatanka basically means male bison, right? So, and then here's another How. I'm trying to think who. The person that had the Hiroko shirt didn't have a ride, couldn't be here, and Hiroko's a deer representing tolerance. Who am I missing? I can't remember who I'm missing. Anyway, No, got Sonny. George? That's it. Yeah. Okay, so we've got everybody, but the original thing was we were going to do a writing project with younger kids. And then COVID happened, and it all died. And then the leadership of 22-23 pulled it out of the ashes and out of the scrap bin in my mind. I didn't think I was a good enough teacher to make it happen and drive this entire project. That was just on me. And then I realized that I was right, because it wasn't my job to make it happen. I just needed to get out of Adrian Keim and Ducky Swim's way. They were my presidents in 22-23, and they drove the thing. 24, they built it up, and Styx just made it all happen. She's the one that said, you know, if we're going to make kids write about character traits, that would be a lot easier for them to wrap their heads around if there were characters. And so none of this would be a thing without Styx. Okay, that's your hero of the day. Thank you. And Addie Gorney, who's a daughter of a teacher at Henderson, I believe. She is the main rendering artist right now that's responsible for about 95% of the art that you see. Okay? We are in the process of making little kits that we could send to the elementary schools. All 14 elementary schools have access to the Google Drive with everything in it. We can make water bottles. This is all made in-house. We have a teacher's resource guide that's going to have thousands of worksheets and poster ideas and everything in it. Addie has made about 50 different posters, like everything from hallway things on the traits to hand washing posters with the characters' hands. It's just amazing. I'm in the process of putting together this book, which contains each character's information and traits, the official colors, and how to draw them, so that the teachers can take this and augment the things that they're already doing. They can put it on brand, if you will. Make the kids think about kindness all day because there's a bunny on their math homework. Okay, so that's the plan. And like I said the same thing last year, if we can make a kid think about kindness 5 times a day, just because they like a cute little Korean bunny named Yoon, then we all win. That's the goal. So any questions for me or the kids? Good, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're very proud.
That's what was and what is. I forgot he told me to tell you what is to come. One of the things we're selling the t-shirts for, we're trying to generate funds so that we can, yes, this is the year, I'm going to have my plushies. Okay. We are going to have the plush dolls manufactured. I don't care. Like I said, I might not be driving the same car at the end of the year, but we will raise the money somehow. Okay? All right. That's it.
Yes.
Okay.
So Mr. McGuirk is the epitome of a teacher. How many years have you been teaching, Mr. McGuirk? So,
Yeah.
32 years. He could have gone into the industry and made 6 figures, 7 figures. You can see how brilliant he is. But he stayed with teaching because he loves students, and look what he's sending out into the world. It's just remarkable. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just stayed out of the way.
Thank you. All right, next item is public comment on an agenda item. Citizens make comments about topics relevant to district topics, district business. In particular, at this meeting, which we consider a workshop, it would be only agenda items. Do we have any?
No, sir.
Okay. Information items. This was something that I hope we could do sooner while everybody could remember a little better, but I thought, well, we'll go ahead and give it a shot. It's been almost 3 months since SLI, that the Summer Leadership Institute that we all went to. So if anybody has anything they would like to share that they can remember, or you brought your notes with you, please do so. I have a few notes. We certainly can keep it brief, but one of the reasons we go to these things is to come up with ideas that we might be able to use in our district, and I want to make sure that if somebody thought there was something worth talking about or having the administration look at, well then this is your opportunity. Anybody?
Mr. Stasny, I just want to say, this time I didn't really pick up any new things to do. There was just so much information on how many changes were coming, with the state legislature, and it was extremely helpful to have been exposed to it, explained before everything went into effect, so that we weren't hit with books and books of changes. So I got a lot out of the presentations that were focused on the changes in the state legislature that went into effect.
Yes, I agree with that. That was very helpful. Anybody else? We did. Well, I'll go over a few things. It won't take long. One of the things was, some of the things had to do with security, and I'm not going to talk about that in open session. If anybody else has anything that they got out of security topics, then we could do that in closed session, because that's actually listed on our closed session as being one of the exceptions that we could talk about, because we are going to talk about cybersecurity, I think, in closed session. Let's see. I know there's a lot of new rules for special ed and funding and all that, and at some point we might want to get more out of the administration from the administration, not out, sorry, about how that works. And Mel Casey also talked about facility usage report, which I don't think that's anything that's necessarily we need to talk about, but I am curious as to what that's all about. There seemed to be a really nice program out of Bernie, and I think Mr. Gonzalez and Mr. Bryan were also present for that, about it was basically dealing with suicide prevention and just dealing with mental health issues, and it sounded like they had a pretty I don't know, energetic program. And so that's something that, again, maybe just put a bug in everybody's ear that if we can, and that there are already many, many things we do to maybe talk about that and how we might be able to use some of those ideas.
David, that was one of the things that I was going to touch on.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't.
No, it's okay. I'll just maybe elaborate some of my thoughts.
Right.
But it was an interesting presentation by another district where they kind of take into consideration a lot of student variables that they can monitor and collect, and it's not so much interaction. You're monitoring the district as a whole, and it takes into account discipline, attendance, clinical data, counseling data, and basically places triggers that flag students when maybe they appear, or these variables appear that they may be off track or struggling, and gives the district an opportunity to interact and counsel and learn more. So it was using data to monitor a district-wide student population, and it sounded really interesting. So I think, and I'd be curious, I don't know everything there is to know about how we monitor students, but I'm sure we have some capabilities to accomplish some of this with our current system, and I'm curious to learn more about that as well.
Well, I agree, and I hope we can at least explore it. It's a worthwhile thing to deal with. It is a huge issue, and we want to make sure we're doing what we can when we can. I'll just mention, I think, one more here, and it was HEB, not the grocery store, but Hearst, Euless, Bedford, had actually another program, and this was on heart health, and so it was, they part of it had to do with just training people, students, but not just students, but coaches and a lot of folks about CPR. Apparently, as I understand it, there's a TEC requirement that everybody, at least in grades 7 through 12, have an opportunity to learn CPR one time. By the way, this is hands-only CPR. They've kind of gotten away from the idea that, well, you got to do the mouth-to-mouth thing too, because I think they've just decided that this is effective, and it's certainly doesn't turn off so many folks would feel like I can't do that. So anyway, they really started with just a few simple mannequins, and they got a bunch more, and were able to try to really get a whole lot more kids, including younger kids, interested in how do you do CPR. And it sounded like, again, another really good idea. It wasn't very expensive. They got a lot of help from, I think, the American Heart Association, and got a lot of recognition for it because it was just a good thing to do, and even they have their, I know they've had this for a long time, a summer reading carnival, and they had a lot of kids and others participating in learning. And one thing that really caught my ear, I should say, is that a lot of the coaches didn't really know that much or didn't know CPR that well, and the coaches jumped on board. And so it sounded like they went from not everybody in terms of coaches knowing CPR to almost everybody knowing CPR. So that's something else that I think would be remarkable to have our coaches all prepared in the event of an emergency like that. So anyway, that's what I had in my notes, and if anybody else has anything else, so we can talk about that. Anybody?
You know, David, when we go to those conferences and those conventions, there's always great information, different things that we learn. But the one thing I look at is that a lot of those school districts are doing things now that we've been doing for years, or things that we have already done. And so one thing that I do want us to look at or entertain the thought is seeing how our staff can be able to participate and do more sessions at these different conferences, because we've got a lot of great things going on in Bryan, and we want to not keep it in Bryan. We need to allow everyone to know some of the things that we're doing and the great programs that we have. Because when you go there and they're saying, oh, we're doing this year, we've got early college, well, we've been doing that for years. And tell them how we're doing it, why it works so well for us to be able to share that information. And we've got great staff that can go out and be able to do that. And so I like to see if maybe we can look at a way that maybe not the whole conference through, but at least different sessions that we can have our staff go and teach, present at different sessions.
And we have done some of that in the past, and I think
We
we
have
do more.
before.
I'm pretty sure our ambassadors were presented at something.
Yeah,
So,
we've presented numerous
our
times.
great ambassadors program, and yeah, anybody who's listening, don't think for a moment we're not doing a bunch of those good things. It's just that we're always ready to look at more and better because we want to be the best. So, but yes, you're correct. We might as well spread the word on what we're doing as well. Well, thanks to everybody. Anybody else comment?
I'll just
Okay.
add, my reflection of, this was in June of 2025, was that the legislative session was over but not over. And so typically we do get legislative updates at that session. We had to postpone that until the start of this school year. And when our attorney did that session with us, I believe there were like 180 bills that were passed that impacted public education. So the amount of training that we have to have just to be able to monitor the oversight of all of those things is pretty monumental this year. Normally, it's maybe a handful of things. So this year was, in some ways, monumental, but maybe not in a good way, as we're still seeing some of those things happening through special session. STAR testing be an example of those.
Anybody else?
We leave Thursday for the next conference update, and there are a lot of sessions that will be debriefing us about what we didn't get in the spring. And again, we'll get to listen to our commissioner, Mike Morath, and hear what he has to say. Doubt we'll get to ask questions, but we'll hear what he has to say. And it also is a session that does not count as credit for school boards to be there. That was kind of interesting. Anyway, so we will have lots of good things to bring you back after this conference we're headed to this weekend.
Thank you.
We're always learning.
Okay, we have next bond 2025 website overview presented by Dr. Bryan Merrill.
So I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Falls. I'd like to thank a couple folks just before we get started and kind of walking through the website. Hugo Ibarra leading his department, Callie Donley, Chelsea Katz, Clay Falls, Mr. Griffin, our maintenance department. So many folks have really leaned in, and I appreciate really the work that's gone into this project and taking what we started way back in March, which seems like at times yesterday, and then other times I think back to I think this is the 10th or 11th time I've been in the boardroom to share the great work of the committee. And so just to remind everybody, we started with strategic planning, and that entire process is outlined in our website. And so if you go to the Bryan ISD website, you'll see the very first box that comes up. It says Sharing the Facts 2025 Bryan ISD Bond. Learn more about the 2025 Bryan ISD Bond here, and you can click. And then again, this is the thank yous that I shared. They put together this website of just available. Everything that we've done, again, from that very first meeting back in March has made its way to the website. So from the minutes to the presentations, the slide decks, everything is involved in there. And so you can see as we make our way down, Proposition A, Proposition B, you'll see it English and Spanish, working on making sure we get everything in English and Spanish, and with even an opportunity to ask questions. If you continue to scroll down, you'll see the kind of the big buttons in the middle, and that's really where we've got kind of a historical perspective of where we've started with this process again back in March. And so you can click on that first one that says Bond Docs and Presentations to the Board, and you're going to see that there's folders in here with all of the available information. And again, we're not going to go through everything tonight, but we wanted to highlight just to anyone watching or anyone in the audience, just what's available to them. And so they can go back and see where it truly started with strategic planning, and then we had a moment where we transitioned to bond steering. And that's where the recommendations for the 397 came from, was from the great work of the committee. We've got steering docs and presentations, the 2025 Bryan ISD campus fact sheets, if you'd click on that one for me. Clay, there you go. You'll see it's represented a whole bunch of ways. So campuses are curious what, if and when the election takes place, if it's successful, then what would our campus get, or what's being recommended? And so, again, great pain and labor was spent talking to not only principals, but just the various departments with our architects and going through our facility assessment to make sure that we had a robust representation of each campus. And you can see as we click through where the campus representations are. And so in the next few weeks, we'll go out to campuses and optional meetings where if they have any questions and they want to know in greater detail, then by all means, we'll make that opportunity available. And again, for those that are watching or those that are in the audience, if you have a group of 2 or more, I would love to get the opportunity just to come and share the facts. And so if you've got a meeting or a get-together or anything along those lines, Myself and Mr. Griffin, we've made our way out to a couple different meetings just to kind of share what's included in this. And we'd love to educate the public so they know what they're voting for, and we'd love to get that opportunity. And so, again, you can see the individual sheets. Clay, if you'll click, it goes all the way down. It'll show the intermediates, it'll show the middle schools, it'll show the high schools, and then it'll show the district as well as the district facilities. And again, Callie was up here. I think she's maybe already left. She presented one of the awards tonight. She's done a phenomenal job with Ms. Hugo in just really designing these and really putting them out. And so I appreciate so much, Hugo, your hard work. Where's Callie? She's over there somewhere. She's in the room. There she is over there. It's incredible to watch both of them work as we are making suggestions in live, and they're moving tiles, and it's like your own education in the Canva. And I'm just so appreciative of the great work. So thank you, Hugo. And just always really wanting to make sure that we're communicating as effectively as we possibly can. Again, questions, we've got I've shared this with a couple groups. We have a tab on there where you can submit a question. And so if you have any questions, you can go in and submit it. It's a form. We've gotten 2. And so the first one was from an architectural firm out of Austin, and they were asking, hey, what does this process look like? You know, when are we going to be able to do all these things? And is it going to be an open type of environment for the architectural firms to be able to present? And I called them back and said, absolutely. Mr. Griffin and I, Ms. Carabine, have talked very explicitly about that process being very open to outside architectural firms and really making sure that they've got the necessary information and they can, bring their work forward. So we're excited about that. The second one, I called, and I don't know if I'd said it here or not, but I called, and I could tell it was just a little awkward when I called, and I said, hey, is so-and-so there? And they said, no. And I said, well, I'm Brian Merrill. I work for Bryan ISD. And she said, is he okay? And I said, yeah, it was a student. So a student at Bryan High School had gone on and had watched the presentations and seen everything and submitted a question. And so I had called his mother, and his mother was making sure, and she saw the school number and thought something was wrong. And so I assured her that no, actually, your student is a model student. He is actually looking out for the welfare of our teachers. And so he had 2 questions. Could you explain the timeline of the projects, written in very well, complete sentences? And when would the various projects be completed? And the second one was, could we use the bond to pay teachers more money? And I know. So we've got a young man at Bryan High School that is looking out for the teachers, looking out for people that he loves very much. And the mom was not surprised. She said he loves going to school. He loves this community, and so he's excited about the various things. So it was a fun conversation to get to have, and I told her that we're not able to do that, which is a question in the FAQ, is could we use that bond money to pay teachers more? No, we cannot. And that seems to be kind of just a misunderstanding really in the community, to be completely honest. And so, again, we got to talk about the projects and what that timeline would look like and when we would sell, all that. So it was a really, I appreciated the conversation very much. And so, again, thank you. We've got the Tuesday takeaways as well as the Friday facts, and we're going to be highlighting various things through our social media platform, and we'll be making those available not only online, just on the various platforms, but they can go back and get a historical look at all of that information with pictures and things. So I appreciate so much, Hugo, Dr. Barra, and just his work with the department, and what an amazing job that entire department has done to really get this up and running in a very, very short period of time. So thank you, Dr. Barra.
I just want to elaborate again with Dr. Hugo Ibarra's leadership, and Callie in particular. They've done all of this work in-house in this department, and in light of our deficit budget and us trying to tighten our belt and be as lean and as efficient as possible, this is simply amazing, the amount of work that they've produced and the caliber of work. Again, we cannot advocate at all, but we can and are ready, willing, and able to share the facts should anyone have any questions at any time.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. I appreciate you pointing that out. Watching just the communication and the marketing and the branding of just really making sure that we're communicating accurately has just been, they just carried such a heavy load. And we've talked with various folks that the minute y'all called for it, we started getting phone calls to see if they could get business, to be completely honest, marketing. And they've been just unbelievably complimentary of the work that has gone on. And again, in light of the deficit budget, we did it all in-house, so I just appreciate them so much. Are there any questions? Again, we'd like, full transparency. From the Bond Oversight Committee to the strategic planning to bond steering, all of it's on there for just to share, to make it available.
I'll just also add that I know we have a robust group of community members who were part of these processes the whole way through.
We do.
And they are also more than willing to
Yes, ma'am.
speak to whatever group may have questions.
Yes, ma'am, I appreciate you pointing that out. And the taxpayer was always in the room. I think David Mervish said that time and time again, one of the first few meetings that we had, that they were always represented not only by the people that were there, but also as they made decisions. So I would encourage, the same way Dr. Harlan, Dr. Wolf, to encourage them to find those committee members and ask them questions. They'd be happy to talk about what's in it, what's included, and if they can't answer it, they'll point them to me, and I'm happy to come out and sit down and have a conversation.
All right. Well,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Next item is also for information item, Group Benefits Risk Pool Overview for 2026. Ms. Friddle.
Good evening, Mr. President, board members, and Superintendent Carabine. Tonight we are presenting an update on our medical and dental benefit plans. No action will be taken this evening. This measure gives us an opportunity to share how our plans are performing and to consider adjustments that promote long-term financial sustainability, all while maintaining the high standards of care our employees receive from our carrier, Blue Cross Blue Shield. We will begin by emphasizing the importance of what it means to be self-funded, specifically how employees' health care choices directly impact the financial health of the plan. This connection not only affects our ability to sustain strong benefits, but also our ability to plan for future compensation. From there, we will review the challenges created by rising medical inflation and walk through a timeline of events that clearly illustrates our current financial position. These factors explain why some proposed changes are necessary. Tonight's presentation is for consideration and discussion, and we anticipate bringing proposals back for your approval at our next board meeting. So here are the key differences between being fully insured and being self-insured, also known as being self-funded. In simple terms, instead of paying an insurance company to take on all the risk, the district collects money through payroll deductions and uses it to pay for medical claims for employees and their dependents as they occur. A carrier like Blue Cross Blue Shield is hired to manage the network of doctors, hospitals, and process the claims, but they aren't the ones covering the risk. The district's money is what actually pays the bills. The financial health of the plan is tied directly to how our employees use it. This also means that the district has more flexibility in the plan design, deductibles, co-insurances, and out-of-pocket maximums, but more financial risk if claims are higher than the premiums being collected. With that said, over the last 25 years, medical inflation has steadily outpaced the general cost of living inflation. Our district, like many others, has certainly felt that impact, and we are not immune to the financial pressures that this creates. In addition, Texas schools went without a basic allotment increase from 2019 until this year. And the small adjustment we receive didn't even come close to covering our existing deficits, adding strain to both the general fund budget and the health insurance fund. Here is a timeline summarizing the increases that have occurred since 2009. Please note that when multiple years are summarized into one, the actual increase for a given year may be lower than what is shown here. So, from 2009 to 2014, there were no premium increases, and the fund remained financially healthy through 2016. However, 2017 marked the first year that we experienced a deficit. Several factors contributed to this shift: the ongoing effects of medical inflation, the impact of high-cost claims, the rise of freestanding ERs, and of course, the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. By the end of 2021, the fund experienced its deepest loss. COVID permanently altered the medical landscape, and with medical inflation continuing to rise, financial pressures show no signs of improving. It is no longer realistic to think that we can sustain the plan without addressing premiums. And as a point of reflection, since 2018, the district has transferred $9.5 million from the general fund to keep the fund solvent. To put this in perspective, that amount is conservatively equivalent to an 8% raise for all employees across the district. Now, switching gears, let's talk about where our employees are with health plan enrollment so we can think about where changes might make some sense. So we looked at which plans employees are using the most, and we broke it down by job classification and by enrollment tier. Please note that this chart is not all-inclusive. It is intended as a snapshot for demonstration purposes only, and we're highlighting where the highest concentration of utilization currently exists. So for example, the chart here shows that nearly 80% of our principals and assistant principals choose the PPO Gold plan, and about half of our teachers do too. Most employees overall pick the employee-only tier. If you see the silver option off to the side, that just means the employee declined coverage. Usually that's because they have insurance through a spouse, or perhaps for younger employees, they may still be covered under their parents' plan. Finally, I want to draw your attention to the HMO plan. This plan was introduced in 2023, and since then, it has remained the most underutilized option. Participation has steadily declined primarily due to the restrictive nature of the plan design. Employees often find that it limits their access to care and does not provide the flexibility or the benefits offered by our other plans. This chart provides a visual representation of the HMO plan since its introduction in 2023. As you can see, participation has steadily declined, largely due to employees recognizing its restrictive nature and its limitations. For example, this plan does not make employees eligible for other program rewards and also excludes the free mental health sessions that are available under our other plans. One of our proposed options is designed to have minimal financial impact on employees while maintaining the quality of care and uninterrupted access to their current medical providers. The recommendation is to discontinue the HMO plan and streamline our offerings to two plans. Given that the HMO plan is the most underutilized option, eliminating it allows us to better focus on educating employees about what their other options are. These plans not only provide access to 27 additional providers, but also offer greater flexibility, transparency, and control over their healthcare decisions. Employees would also benefit from the added services available through the employee health clinic. So in simple terms, the HMO plan is redundant because everything it provides is already included in the other two existing plans. In addition to eliminating the HMO plan, we are proposing modifications to the current PPO Gold plan. The redesigned planned option would be called the PPO Gold Choice. This plan introduces 3 tiers of providers, giving employees the freedom to choose their care while encouraging the use of high-quality, cost-effective providers through lower out-of-pocket costs. This new design utilizes a program called Careway, which scores providers based on the doctor's efficiency, appropriateness of care, and the overall quality of care our members will receive. So for example, employees who choose Tier 1 providers will pay the lowest out-of-pocket costs, which makes this tier the most financially sustainable for both the employee and the district's health plan. They will continue seeing the same doctors they have always used. So simply put, the employees will gain more choice and transparency with no disruption to their current care or access to providers. So the freedom to choose, the transparency you can see, and the care you can trust. And last but absolutely not least, these plan modifications and the removal of the HMO plan will save the district over $1.2 million. Another recommendation for this evening's discussion is the proposal to streamline our dental offerings by consolidating 3 dental plans into 2. This consolidation would simplify choices for employees while creating significant savings and efficiencies. With the proposed structure, employees would experience lower monthly premiums, enhanced benefits, savings on the care that they use, and the district would realize an immediate savings of over $200,000. In addition, administrative costs would decrease, and the structure would promote greater in-network utilization. Most importantly, employees and their dependents would not experience any disruption in care when using in-network providers. The primary difference between the current and the proposed structure is how the out-of-network providers are reimbursed. Currently, the plans pay a percentage of average local cost, which in our case is tied to the Houston area rates. Under the proposed plan, out-of-network services would be reimbursed at a fixed dollar amount, meaning any cost above that amount would be the employee's responsibility. And finally, to close our discussion, here is the same timeline that I shared at our previous board meeting for your review. And as you can see, today is September 8th, and we are introducing the proposed medical and dental plan changes for your consideration. At our next board meeting, we will be seeking approval of the benefit plans. Following that, we will visit the campuses to share details of the plan changes and answer any questions, ensuring employees feel comfortable making their selections during open enrollment period, which begins November 3rd and ends November 21st. At this time, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Mr. Stasny, may I ask a question? May I have 2 questions, Ms. Riddle, please?
Yeah.
First of all, would you answer, we're self-funded because that it saves our employees money overall. Is that correct if we were to go, or why are we self-funded versus not?
It is, actually, it's just been a plan design here at Bryan ISD. I believe we've always been self-funded as long as we've been in existence. I don't know if that's been, yeah.
Do you want to introduce your guests? We have
Yeah.
some subject matter experts on the front row that can also jump in. We've been
Yes.
self-funded in all of my time here, and I know compared to TRS and some of the others that I have friends in other districts, it's a better plan, better price,
Okay.
better
Plus,
benefits. We have
the
control.
district and the powers that be can coordinate our plan.
Yes, ma'am.
We drive our plan.
Yes.
I know as a teacher, that was one of the first things I understood, and I was glad for, is they know us, we know them, and they know what our needs are better than, nothing against major corporations.
Sure.
But our own people are driving our own plan.
Yes, unlike TRS Active Care, which they offer fully insured, they're a fully insured plan. For example, the district that I came from was fully insured. It just means that there's not as much flexibility in the plan design. The district actually has the flexibility to set its co-pays, its out-of-pocket maximums, its co-insurances. So we can drive the rates up or down, as opposed to being fully insured like the district where I came from. Blue Cross Blue Shield basically says, this is the
Here's what
increase.
it is.
Like it or not, there's not really much you can do. I don't know that there's really much you can do. So versus being self-funded or being self-insured, we are in the driver's seat. As Ms. Ruthie was explaining, we are in the driver's seat. We're the ones that say, no, we don't want to do this. No, let's try this. So we're able to explore. We can certainly explore more options, and I think it's a better place to be, being self-funded.
And I just wanted to make sure I didn't know if it was a lot cheaper for our employees to do this, so that it's not necessarily money, a monetary that we're looking at. It's more of our control and able to benefit to custom tailor, I guess, to our employees.
Yes, sir. I'm actually glad you brought that point. If we ever switch to being fully insured, I believe, I'm pretty sure I'm in the ballpark, but it would cost at least $30 million to switch over and make that hop over to be fully insured. But let's think about what that means as I explained. When you're fully insured, it means the risk transfers. We say, Blue Cross Blue Shield, you got this, we're stepping out. But when we're fully insured, we're saying, you know what, we prefer to have the option, to have the flexibility. We want to educate our employees about the connections between the healthcare providers that you make, how that impacts the finances. So we keep all those decisions locally, and we're in the driver's seat versus Blue Cross Blue Shield saying, this is what the increase is going to be, take it or leave it, and it is what it is. So I think we are in a good place.
And that's for fully funded, right? So
Fully
fully
insured.
funded is when we don't make the decisions.
That's correct.
Self-funded is when we make it.
That is correct.
Okay.
We are self-funded, also known as self-insured, versus being fully insured, which is the normal, like TRS active care plan that a lot of districts utilize.
Well, maybe somebody said it, but I missed it. It's, these companies are in it to make a profit. And
They sure are.
when we're self-insured, we're not scraping money off the top and saying, hey, with the bottom line, we got to make money for our shareholders. So that's true still for our underwriter who covers our really big claims, but not for all the rest. So that's an important part of this.
One other quick question, and I'll leave you alone.
Of course.
As far as, on the previous slide, it said that for out-of-network, we were only going to pay a fixed amount for the employee, and the employee the employee be responsible for the difference. Is that correct?
Now, that is on the dental plan.
Is that just dental? Okay.
Just the dental
okay.
plan. Yes, sir. But
Thank
you
you.
are correct. That is exactly
Okay, and that's what I wanted to clarify. Thank you.
just on the dental, yes.
I have to throw this in one more time.
Of course.
Because I was, again, when I was young and being schooled about being self-insured, I remember that I was told, well, the best part about it is the people that are making those decisions know our hospital systems, our doctors, the people, I mean, not personally, but I mean, they understand our people and what's offered in our community. And so they can make a lot of decisions on a personal basis compared to a big conglomerate.
That is an excellent point, Ms. Waller. We are at the pulse of that. So us making those decisions locally is good. It's much better than some big corporation coming out and just saying, all right, well, here are your premium increases, and then it is what it is. So no, you are absolutely correct.
Ms. Riddle, can you go to the slide that had the, like where we're projected? It's the one, keep going back, that one. So if I'm reading this right, it looks like for 2025, we're heading toward a not-so-great year.
That is correct.
So, the benefit of being self-insured is that we set the premiums and the copays and all the things, anticipating the cost to try to recoup that. And it looks like we did pretty good on that for a while. 2017, things started to shift. I think health care probably also started to shift. But, I mean, as we think about the $9.5 million that we've continued to have to pull from our local funds to cover the cost of health insurance, I know that's probably our concern, is how can we have viability in remaining self-insured? Because the other option, I hope our employees understand this, no board member benefits from these decisions. We don't have access to these plans. We're not employed by the school district. So we consider these things on your behalf. But if we have to switch to a fully funded, what that means is that the employees bear all the cost of that. Perhaps? Okay.
Yes.
And we can't use, we as board members, it's a misconception. We don't and can't, by law, use this insurance. So again.
We're not
the
employees.
decisions- Right.
Yeah.
The decisions we're making are for our,
So
everybody.
it's very concerning to me when I see employees posting on social media decisions they've made regarding their health care about, I'll just use the example of a freestanding ER. Just go there. It's covered by Bryan ISD insurance. And I cringe every time I see that, because even though there's no immediate cost to the employee, there are costs to all the employees impacted by the system. So I know we continue to struggle with how to message those things. So I just ask those questions because I look at the trends of where we're going, and it looks pretty scary given our budget deficits.
And I think it's okay to say that the wheels are in motion to try to deal with that more than one way, educating our employees, but also basically talking to some of the providers. And I believe you've gotten at least some encouraging word on that. I know there's probably not a lot you can say right now because there's probably not a whole lot that's actually occurred, but the communication has started. It's not like status quo is okay.
Yes, Mr. Stasny, the bad news is healthcare costs are on the rise, not just in Bryan ISD, but in the state and nation. The good news is we recognize it, and as you can see, we have historical data in front of us. The other good news is we are self-funded, and we are in the driver's seat. We can make decisions, and we can control the narrative. Now, these might be bold decisions for here and now, like the proposed plan consolidation and slight adjustments to the premiums, which you'll share in great detail at the September 22nd meeting. But no matter what, we make these decisions in the best interest of our employees. So Dr. Harlan, I appreciate your comments. We also know how thankful we are to the Board of Trustees for adopting our proposed compensation plan, which means we have a deficit budget today. So we don't want to do anything that would take away completely from what we just did with the compensation plan. But at the same time, we're on a non-sustainable path here. I would like nothing more than to right the ship and reclaim that $9.5 million and then ask the board to consider letting us put that back into compensation over time. We can't fix this overnight, but if we start chipping away at it right now, and I feel very optimistic and confident in the ability of our team to come back with a solid proposal. Again, we don't want to compromise the integrity of our plan. We do not want to diminish the caliber of care that we are afforded, because I know we have a good plan compared to some others out there. But at the same time, we want to make some adjustments so we can get back on our feet. Again, imagine if we could take that money that we've been taking out of our maintenance and operation budget and find a way to put it back into compensation, put it right back into the paychecks. So that's our plan, and I look forward to hearing more about what that will look like, and appreciate the
Ginger, man,
questions.
on that note, actually, so what does it break down to? Is that $1,000 or so deficit per employee if you look at it, the $3 million deficit? What is that?
Well, if we can do some quick math there, some 3.8 million. It depends on which year you're looking
Which-
at. The 9.5 million over all the years or just one specific year?
I was curious just this year, just so that our employees can see how much it is
Okay,
per.
we can take that 3.8 and just divide it by our number of employees.
Which is what, how many do we,
Of course, we have some that don't
Some,
take it.
some don't take
Yeah.
it.
So you've got to,
so about 1,000? Is my Aggie math? I was trying to do my Aggie math without putting myself out there so Joel doesn't make fun of me. But is it about
Or so.
$1,000
Or so, yes.
Okay. I mean, that's a lot of money per person. I just want our employees to understand that we're not talking $5 or $10 that we're off here. I mean, $1,000 over and over. I mean, I realize it's not spread out evenly over everyone.
For
But
sure.
I would like them to understand the magnitude of the deficit when you look at the number of employees versus the deficit.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then, I'm not the CFO, but for about every $1 million, we could afford a 1% raise. So again, we would like nothing more than to continue to work on compensation and pay every single employee group more money. So
And eventually just get, as Ms. Carabine was saying, eventually just get the plan to a state of where it's cost neutral. You know, the plan pays for itself. That's really the goal here. We shouldn't be going into the general fund for, every year or so. It would be a good goal to, just to be cost neutral at some point where all the premiums being collected cover the claims. Now, we're human. Sometimes we have high cost claims, but we do have additional insurances in place. so whenever we have catastrophic claims, we have special insurance like, stop loss, so that way we have enough to cover those high dollar claims.
And obviously that $3 million doesn't include our high, that have been covered by insurance. So this is just our normal, the $3 million deficit is just our normal overage on non-catastrophic claims. Is
It's
that correct?
overall.
So that does include the catastrophic?
It's overall, yes, sir. It's everything. All premiums go in the pot, and we use those dollars to cover all the claims that get paid, and it's the amount that we're, so to speak, in the hole. So.
But we don't, so do we get paid? I'm getting yes and no's on the back. So the catastrophic claim, so we're $3 million is our deficit right now, or whatever, I don't remember the exact number. But if we had does that include, what happens to the big claims? Yes, ma'am, so 3.8 million, I'm sorry, almost 4 million.
So yes, so we're currently $3.8 million in the hole. All the claims collected, all of the premiums collected versus all of the claims paid. Right now, we're 3.8 million, so all of the claims paid.
But so we wouldn't pay the claims for the catastrophic ones because our insurance. Gotcha. But that is reflected in this 3.8 million. This is actually what we're short. This isn't going, okay, well, we're 3.8 million short, but.
No, you're exactly right.
Okay.
Those dollars are not paid by the district, they're reimbursed.
Okay.
So the 3.8 represents what the district has actually.
That is not included in there. Thank you.
Correct. Not at all.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I brought the team.
Exactly. Sorry, guys. I see this and this. I was like, well.
Yeah, and a big part of this, again, because we're self-funded, we're all in this together to right the ship. So we are committed to going out to every single campus and meeting with every single department, because education is the key. If we all
absolutely.
understand what we have at hand and we identify the problems and we work together on the solution, anything's possible.
And I do think, I know we've had this discussion in private a bit, I won't call one of my good teacher friends out, but she's extremely intelligent and had no idea of the dynamics of going to certain clinics. And she says, I would have never done that in a million years had I known that this was a result. So education, like you just said, education is the key. I know Ms. Waller has told me a million times, we need to get out there and let these people know. We have intelligent people, but a lot of us just don't think you understand it. And it sounds, some of these things that sound too good to be true are in the long run. And I really appreciate the effort that you guys are taking to make sure that our employees are aware, because like Ginger just said, y'all all work together. It is a family, and we have to help one another and make sure that we get the most out of our plan.
It really is. Yes, sir. That's an excellent analogy. That's why we want to focus on these informational sessions. And just as Ms. Carabine said, campus to campus, one by one, we're making sure that everybody understands the impact to their to their healthcare choices and how that impacts the finances. And then just overall, just the financial state of the district. So I'd love to, we would love to be able to take that $9.5 million and put it back into the employee paychecks. So that is certainly a goal.
All right, well, we'll have more to talk about the next meeting, so thank you very much. Next is the consent agenda. We have a list of items here that I hope you've had a chance to look at. Remind the board that any item can be removed from the consent agenda for consideration separately.
Move approval of all the items listed on the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Benford, seconded by Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It's unanimous. Now we are to action items. Discussion and consideration of an order authorizing the defeasance and redemption of certain currently outstanding Bryan Independent School District Unlimited Tax School Building Bonds, Series 2023, and resolving other matters incident and related to the defeasance of such obligations. After having a little chance to hear some of this earlier and many hours of my head spinning around, I think I understand it, but go ahead and explain it to me again and everybody else.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Carabine. Tonight, we are bringing forward a bond refunding for your consideration and approval. Approving this measure allows the district to avoid $11.4 million in interest costs over the next several years. This is a prime example of how careful planning and timely action benefit both the district and our taxpayers. The reason Bryan ISD has the strong bond capacity it does today is because of the strategic financial moves our board has supported over the past several years. A bond refunding is one of those moves. You've heard me speak of defeasances in the past, so I'd like to take this opportunity to briefly define what a defeasance is in simple terms. In plain language, a defeasance simply means setting aside money or issuing new bonds to pay off old bonds early. It's like when you refinance your home mortgage. You replace the old loan with a new one, and often at a better interest rate. Or you set aside enough money in a special account to make sure the old loan gets paid off. In both cases, the old debt is defeased, which basically means it's taken care of and there is no longer a liability on the books. With that said, it's important to note that there are two types of defeasances, a cash defeasance and a refunding defeasance. Both accomplish the same thing. They reduce our debt obligations sooner, we avoid millions of dollars in interest, and they strengthen the district's capacity to finance future projects without raising the tax rate. Because of recent legislative changes at the state level, the district could potentially forfeit up to $2.8 million in hold harmless money if we pursued a cash defeasance rather than a refunding. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our financial advisor, Mr. Steve Adams, to provide some additional details.
Thank you, President, staff, team members of the board, Superintendent Carradine. We've been working on this for a long time, and I think Dr. Harlan Wolf stated earlier that we had all this legislation that just passed and we're now interpreting it. In this case, we have been interpreting the hold harmless, talking to bond lawyers, other districts, Moat Casey, the bond lawyer's been talking to the Attorney General's office on how to interpret the hold harmless. And I just hit the wrong button. So anyway, the hold harmless, just to go back over that, as you know, the homestead exemption was increased in the last legislative session. And to make up for the tax revenues that the district loses because it has lower taxable values, the state is going to hold you harmless for that amount of money. The question is, how is that implemented? So many districts have defeased debt with cash in order to manage their tax rate and to pay debt off early. The question is, how is a defeasance looked at under the hold harmless? We don't know the answer to that. We've been getting conflicting answers almost daily from the various people in the school industry around the state.
Can I interrupt you just a second?
Yes,
Because
sir.
I think one point that, especially those maybe that are listening to this or I'm watching this, when you start talking about hold harmless, I'm pretty sure we're talking about only the debt rate, the INS, not the M&O that we're talking about, because that's obviously a whole different game. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And so a lot of districts, instead of calling debt, I'll learn this in a minute, what they have chosen to do, is to refund the debt with a very, very short refunding. So all this time we've been talking about on the past several months, we're going to defease debt. In other words, we're going to set the tax rate at 27 cents, and a portion of that tax rate is going to be used to pay bonds that are due later. So we're going to just call them and pay them off now so that the INS tax rate is 27 cents, and we create capacity for a future bond election. While we don't know how that's treated, we do know that if you have debt outstanding, that hold harmless is secure. So what we are proposing is that instead of using cash to repay that debt, at your September 22nd meeting, we sell a refunding bond that matures on April 15th, when we're going to call that debt and repay the bond, and the bond will repay the debt. So it's a two-step process. We're going to sell bonds in September. Those bonds will repay all the debt, and then we're going to pay those bonds the following April of 2026. The net result will be the exact same. The red squares are the debt that we're avoiding. We will pay all of that debt in 2026 through a refunding. And we are sure that the INS rate can be used to pay bonds, or we are told by bond counsel and other consultants. And the hold harmless will treat that like any other debt that you've issued. So that's what we are recommending to do.
May I ask, is that the, maybe you're going to go here, maybe I should let you speak, but is that the same as borrowing? So we're selling, but we're borrowing against the bond to pay?
Yes.
So that we don't break the cycle of having a bond that is protected, is that correct? That we're still?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. We're just, the bond we're selling, instead of maturing through now in 2048, it will all mature next year in a large 15 million sum. That will go into your INS tax rate, and we'll do it the day before, or the meeting you set your tax rate. So it'll be part of your INS tax rate. It'll be debt just like all of your other debt.
Okay, thank you.
So how do we know the state is not going to come in and say, oops, you can't do that?
Well, I don't know that we can ever say that. But,
Yeah, that's a good point.
but I do know that we are talking to bond counsel. We're talking to the consultants that the TEA works with. Other districts, there's been 3 or 4 that have done this. The Attorney General has approved the debt. And if you read the statute, it's supposed to work this way.
So it's kind of like a CD. If I'm thinking about it, like a CD matures by a certain,
Right.
kind of like that, except it's reverse.
Except it's reversed.
Yeah.
Instead of an investment,
Yeah.
you're managing a liability instead of an asset.
Okay.
Other than that, yes, it's the same. And so what you're doing tonight is you're passing an order that we could do the defeasance, the cash defeasance, and set up that escrow that's required to pay those other bonds off. Or we can come back on the 22nd and sell refunding bonds. If we find out between now and the 22nd that won't work, we'll go back to the cash defeasance. But we believe this will work. Other districts are doing it, and it seems to fit better with the way the law is worded. And, we're relying on the lawyers and the consultants to tell us that. That's what we believe is the case. And it will accomplish the exact same thing that we've been talking about for months, which is keep your debt service tax rate at 27 cents so that it won't fall down and only to go right back up if the bond election passes. Because, that just whipsaws your taxpayers into the amount they have to pay. And also, we're avoiding so much debt that in the long run, the district is in far better shape. You're spending less INS dollars on interest and more of it on principal. So you're more effectively using your INS tax dollars. So I'd be glad to answer any questions. I know it's a little bit complex. We can go through any level of detail on this that you would like to go through.
So in 7 months, it's like a Christmas present.
You just you're paying the debt off, yes. I mean, you've levied the tax and you're using that tax to pay debt.
I like your outlook, Ms. Waller.
Yes.
Yeah, and if we haven't mentioned here previously, which I know we have, school finance is incredibly complicated. Thank you for explaining in as
Thank
much
you.
as layman's terms as you can.
Mr. Stasny, if we don't have any more questions, then I move to adopt an order authorizing the defeasance and redemption of certain currently outstanding Bryan Independent School District unlimited tax school building bonds, Series 2023, and resolving other matters incident and related to the defeasance of such obligations.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Gonzalez and seconded by Ms. Benford. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing the work so we don't have to. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
And Norma's done a great job.
Yeah, she has.
Yay.
All right. 7B, consider approval of memorandum of understanding between where'd I go here? Workforce Solutions, Brazos Valley, and Bryan ISD. Donna Willett.
Yes, sir. Hi, I'm back. Tonight, I'm looking for approval for an MOU with the Workforce Solutions of the Brazos Valley. We have worked with them for years and years, off and on in different capacities, and they have come to us. They have a new coach, a career coach in their building, and is very much wanting to spend some additional time with our students. Dr. Merrill has visited with her. Laura King, Director of CTEs, visited with her along with several people from our department. As part of this MOU, they would supply a career coach that would be in and out of our middle school and high school campuses. This person would spend time in classrooms, working with teachers, doing lessons about career guidance and exposing them to all things planning for the future and opportunities, especially those in our community. Along with that, the grant funding that they have gotten several programs. The big names are Texas Reality Check, which is really kind of a budgeting activity that you go through with kids. Ooh, I want to be X, and I'm going to have this big a house and, this kind of car, and it's really kind of literally a reality check of, what does that profession pay? What do you want, and how does all that work out? There's another one called Texas Career Check, and it's a lot of information on various opportunities in and around our community in the state of Texas. And then they have all of kinds of different additional programs they have, along with some presentations. She sent me a copy of a couple of them when we were putting this together. From the district side, what does it mean for us? It means that I would work with each one of the middle school and high school campuses, and we would determine a contact for the coach from the Workforce Solutions within that building to kind of just ease that process of them moving in and getting set up. Basically, it would be one of the counselors on those campuses. We would give them a location to work. Obviously, all of our high schools have either a Go Center or a Career Center, so there's the opportunity to work there, and then a place where they could visit with students and families individually. And then we would just come up with a process of which classrooms would they be going into. Again, Ms. King and I have already talked about which ones make sense up front, and then once we get in some classrooms, see how it's going, and then how would we expand to do that. And eventually, they want the opportunity to work with students individually, to get those approval from parents, and many times it would be a parent and a student, those juniors and seniors that are about to move on, getting them some supports for programs, whether it is going to a college or a university, or helping them get connected with certificate-type programs in our community.
Well, thank you. I just want to say, this was originally on the consent agenda,
Yes, sir.
so we would have been a little quicker, but I thought this was really something worthwhile that I want to make sure the public knows that we have this, and this is really obviously of benefit to our students. So of course, any questions, and then we can, of course, vote on it separately.
So is this one person, Donna, or one person per campus?
It's one person that will be assigned to our district.
And they'll just go campus to campus?
they'll have set schedules where they're going to be in certain buildings, so we can work with teachers to set up lessons and then with families to set up to meet with them individually.
I would just like to add on to what Mr. Stasny said. It is so important. We focus a lot of times on academics, and this is important to broaden their horizons, let our students know. I think sometimes they don't know where to start if they decide not to go to university or to a college, 2-year. It's important to give them the information and the tools that they need to be successful in the workforce. And with all of our great CTE opportunities, this is a wonderful partnership.
It partners with it beautifully, yes.
Thank you.
And I do not see a motion attached to this, but I'll take a stab at it, if that's okay.
Thank you, Doc.
I move approval of a memorandum of understanding between Workforce Solutions Brazos Valley and Bryan ISD as presented.
Very good.
Second.
Second was by Ruthie. Okay. Motion made by Dr. Harvin Wolf and seconded by Ms. Waller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Thank you very much, Ms. Wolf.
Thank you.
Dr. Barr, you're so close to this.
Yeah, she's coming on.
You're making us work, Dr. Barr. We want to be spoon-fed sometimes.
Want to keep
Consider
on your
approval
toes.
of the district improvement plan for 2025-26. I hope everybody read every word and.
Absolutely.
Okay, good deal.
Thank you, Mr. Stasny. Good evening, everyone. Dr. Morris and I are going to present this one together. This is the District Improvement Plan. It's an annual requirement that we come to you with the improvement plan that's been developed collaboratively with stakeholders for the district's continuous improvement. When we do this process, we always start with our board-approved vision and mission. Those are not new to you, but they are, in fact, the grounding concepts that begin this process. When we go over all of the plans, I always like to joke that which plan are we talking about today? There are a number of plans that are required in public education for lots of different entities and for lots of different reasons. Many of them have to do with funding. For example, this particular plan, the district's improvement plan, is required to receive funding from both the state as well as the federal government. And so there are lots of required elements within this plan in addition to just continuous improvement. But the most important thing on this particular screen is that the board trustees' goals, are really what drives the matter and the content in all of our plans, including the district improvement plan. And so when our board of trustees adopts their 5 goals, that sets the tone for what's important in the district and what we prioritize in terms of where our efforts are placed. Thankfully, our board, as we heard earlier, goes to statewide conferences and is fully aware and fully versed in public education and knows what those priorities should be. You know fiscal responsibility, but you know the main thing is the main thing, and that's our children and their post-secondary readiness. So the Board of Trustees goals, everything actually on here is approved by the Board of Trustees. So the college, career, and military readiness plans and the early childhood literacy and numeracy plans, those are affectionately known as the House Bill 3 goals. I'm sure everyone, that just rolls off your tongue. But those goals are actually approved by the Board of Trustees. They also feed into the district improvement plan, which is board approved, and then subsequently to all campus improvement plans, so that there's alignment between all of these plans in terms of their focus, their content, and their initiatives. And then certainly any targeted improvement plans for focused improvement follow that same pattern. But again, just so we are all clear, the most important driving factor and the most important lever are those Board of Trustees goals that moves all of these plans into motion. And it's our job to make sure that all the subsequent plans meet the federal and state guidelines while still holding true to the Board of Trustees goals. A little bit about the process. I'm going to invite Dr. Morris up to go over this piece of it.
Thank you. Good evening. So a lot of this is exactly what I told you last year. This is the process that we go through each year as required by law to involve various stakeholders, teachers, administrators, district people, along with community members, parents, families. Anybody who wants to have a voice can come to any of our meetings when we are in the development process. So we have 2 primary committees that we work with. And I always get this name wrong, District Continuous Improvement Leadership Team. So that is primarily district leaders who evaluate this plan, usually monthly, to make sure we're on the right track. The other one is the District Education Improvement Committee, and that's where we get a lot of our community and parent feedback. But we also collect feedback other ways. We have questions on the surveys that were just released today that feed directly into this plans. And then we hear from campuses, and sometimes people stop me in the grocery store, just wherever. But we take all of that feedback and put it into this plan so that we are doing what's best for our students, our staff, our community at large. And so we're constantly looking at the plan, evaluating and revising. And when I say revising, I'm not talking about the big goals. I'm talking about the strategies. So we may find out that we thought this was going to be a great idea to try this program. We've used it for 6 months and it's an absolute disaster. So we pull that out of our plan. That's what I mean by revising. It's never any of the big goals or performance objectives. It's just the implementation of those. And so, without going into too much detail about I believe it was about 58 pages, which is 20 pages shorter than last year, so we have been working to streamline. I get all the long things, but that's okay. So these are the big 5 goals that we focused on. The academic, I'm going to skip that one for just a minute and do the other 4 and then come back to that. But our culture, climate, and safety. We talk about attendance and increasing attendance. All of our work with safe and civil schools, our social emotional learning and Essential 8. Obviously, school safety, our ambassadors. So all of our strategies in that are around improving all of those things. The workforce is our professional learning for our staff, not just teachers, but for all of our staff. Our mentoring program for our new teachers, our teacher retention through things like the teacher incentive allotment, and then the community engagement, which is critically important. So that's all of our community partnerships, our research partnerships with A&M and other universities around here, community partnerships, all of Ms. Carabine's advisory committees that she meets with, community engagement activities, family engagement activities, both at the district and campus level. And then obviously post-secondary success is critically important to what we do here. And that's not just at the high schools, that starts in pre-K, getting those students ready to move through so that after they leave us, they're ready to do whatever they want to do. So specifically in this plan, we talk about our career and technical education, our college advanced academics courses, our college career military readiness, our AVID and programs like that, Bryan Collegiate, and our fine arts education, because we know we need all of those different things to be a well-rounded person. Now back to the academics, which is obviously in a school district critically important. We have our basics, our core content, our languages other than English, all of those basic academic programs supporting our bilingual and migrant students, our special education students, and all of those at-risk learners, just doing whatever we can to move every student as far as we can while we have them. But 2 things I'm really excited about are the last 2. These are new initiatives, the Texas Strategic Leadership and the Texas Instructional Leadership. And those, I think, are going to be game changers for the district.
I'm going to turn it right back over to you in just 1 second. When we talk about the plan, I know oftentimes when we bring this to you, it feels a little like Groundhog Day. You're like, okay, well, what's different about this year? How is it new and improved or what have you? And of course, the idea is that we're always working on the same thing, supporting teachers, developing teachers, supporting instruction, and supporting students. But as Jill mentioned, there are 2 pretty big changes this year with these 2 items. And thankfully, since we just talked about budget and talked about financial constraints, these are both free. We were very excited about that. One is grant funded and the other one is grant funded at the state level, both of which we applied for and both of which we were accepted for. So these 2 initiatives focus on responding to the data and the information we are seeing from all of the different sources when we look at the comprehensive needs assessment, which is also included in the district improvement plan. The first one there, the last one there rather, Texas Instructional Leadership, we're going to begin with that. I'm going to have Dr. Morris explain it, but that is funded through a grant opportunity. And then the second one we've talked a little bit about is TSL, and I'll come back for that one. Dr. Morris.
So Texas Instructional Leadership, or as it's called in the state, TIL, because we need another acronym. But this is one we have been working on for a little over a year, and we applied for the grant at the end of last year and found out in March that we received it, and so we started planning. This is a partnership with Region 6, where they are providing us at our intermediate and middle schools. So we're just focusing narrowly on those campuses to start this program. And that choice was based on some data that was a very high area of need to strengthen. And so the partnership was with Region 6, and we have a dedicated Region 6 coach, and she is in the district at least 2 weeks with the 5 campuses, a half a day for each campus, so 2.5 days. She was here last week, and I went to some of those meetings, and she provides direct coaching to the principals and administrators at each of those campuses. And the first year, her focus is on observation feedback. It's about growing those administrators to give good, solid, actionable feedback, not just to walk in and say, you need to work on your pacing. Well, if I'm a brand new teacher, I don't know what that means. But to say, okay, how can you get better? And I'm going to give you some specific action steps. So it's her working with our administrators to improve their skills when they are working with teachers, which in turn should improve student performance. And so last week we met, we walked classrooms, we picked some things that we wanted teachers to work on, and then we went back and together she worked with them to teach them to write scripts about how to have those conversations. And what action steps are you going to tell them to do? And so this week, they're having those conversations, and then she'll be back in the district next week to debrief, and then continue that process, walk some more classrooms, build some more scripts. And so it's not just our lead principal, but we're including all of the APs because we want to grow them as leaders. And so then next year, we'll focus on data-driven instruction in concert with the feedback. And I think that is all on the LASSO grant-funded TIL project.
May I ask you on the LASSO grant, so, and I'm reading here where you're saying the teacher observation and feedback. So how do the teachers, are they able to do you all have that conversation where they say, this is what I need specific help with, and then you work with that, or is it more, will you give them an overall and then?
Some of both, kind of depending on what the need is. We've tried to be very strategic when picking our first few teachers to go observe because we want someone who's going to be responsive. We are picking some brand new teachers. We're picking some veterans who've been in the classroom 25 years that are department heads because we don't want this to be, oh, we're in your class because you're a bad teacher. It's, no, we're all growing. And I've even heard the principals when they talk about it, they're framing it to their staff as, I'm being coached by people from the district and from Region 6 so I can get better, so I can help you get better.
Okay.
And that's how.
Great, thank you.
One quick thing with TIL, and I think this is a great graphic that they included in their training, that when we talk about how we do professional development, there's the face-to-face, and you sit and you receive and you do, and then that's it. And that's only mildly effective. I think they said 10%, something low like that. But once you start doing job embedded, where there's coaching with it, you start to see a return on the investment. So that's why this is grant funded and why we have pretty much a Region 6 specialist in district 2 out of 4 weeks a month.
And there's Zoom calls or something else.
so that it's continuously happening over and over and over again, basically building that muscle memory. We all know that from sports, but that's what's happening in an academic frame. But again, making sure that all of those things are there, including we have a campus support specialist, Mrs. Legg, formerly of Ross Elementary, is also serving in this capacity where she is coaching as a former principal and now as a specialist, working with all intermediate schools and then also with middle schools through this grant. But again, a really wonderful opportunity, and we were thankful to receive this grant. Anything else, Dr. Morris? Oh, that's okay. It's all right. No worries. Okay, so the next one, and I'll go swiftly through this, but I want to recap a little bit. Texas Strategic Leadership is one of those things that we talked about where, well, did we apply? Yes, we applied. Did we get it? Yes, we did. And that's because our superintendent did a fantastic job on her interview. You mentioned, were we here earlier this spring when Mr. Manley and Mr. Smith came and spoke to the board about Texas Strategic Leadership. This is one of those things where you apply and you're like, this is free, and you're going to shepherd the district through this entire process over multiple years for free. And it actually came to fruition that it was. Some of the foundational elements of TSL are just truly to end up at the end of the day with an academic strategic plan that has monitoring and oversight from the Board of Trustees. So the Board of Trustees is very much in partnership with the development of this plan in providing input and then ultimately monitoring the implementation of the academic strategic plan. The way Texas TEA really introduced it to the districts this June is that schools are not islands. They're basically independent contractors working all by themselves. They're archipelagos, meaning they're chains of islands. They're systems within systems. But it's ensuring that all of those are aligned that gets you that movement in terms of student performance and outcomes. And so that is really the foundational understanding of why they're doing what they're doing. This one is, I think, one of my favorites. I'm just going to do a brief overview of it, but at the top it says, if we believe a strong student experience is the core driver of student outcomes, then we must backward design. So we must think about, what do we want the student experience to be? And now, are our systems built to deliver that student experience? And if they're not, then how do we adjust them? And all of that comes through, first, the very bottom there, the foundation, effective governance from the Board of Trustees. Then it goes to the district aligning their systems. And then the campus, the system within a system, also being aligned, those gears working in coordination, so you don't have that train wreck of the gears being misaligned, right? That ultimately ends up with a student experience and then improved student outcomes. On the right-hand side, I won't go through all of it, but that's essentially the effective district framework, where it looks at all these different levers of what should be happening across districts and schools, and where are we strong and where do we have opportunity for improvement. I highlighted in green there instructional leadership and capacity building, and that's under the critical enabling systems with talent and everything. That's the LASSO grant that we just talked about. That's one piece of shoring up that lever in the effective district framework to improve student outcomes. So this whole process is for the district to develop an academic plan that emphasizes those levers at the effective district framework. Along with it, much like with TIL, the district gets executive coaching through Mr. Smith and Mr. Manley, who've already visited with the board one time. They come monthly. Right now, we're walking all of the classrooms, and I'll explain that in just a moment. We'll go on learning lab visits. There's one coming up in October where Mrs. Carabine and a few others will go visit other districts across the state to hear about what they're doing in each of those levers from the effective district framework. We are, of course, with a group of other districts that are embarking on this together. Then ultimately, we'll have our landscape analysis and we'll begin planning our implementation and monitoring. So let's talk briefly about that landscape analysis. Essentially, we started providing artifacts, documents, and data to the region early August. We are kicking that into high gear right now. You can see there's artifacts, there's quantitative, there's walkthrough observations, there's stakeholder engagement. That's why we actually moved the survey up to September. We wanted to capitalize in getting a wide base of feedback from across the district to help fuel the development of this plan. We've walked almost 200 classrooms for just this purpose already this first couple of weeks, with more to come in the next few weeks. Those are outside of the other walks that are going on. These are just for TSL, just to collect data and understand what is the state of the student experience today, and is that what we want it to be? And if not, and if so, what works and what doesn't work? So that landscape analysis is actually a part of what will be coming to the Board of Trustees to inform your goal setting and decision making as well. So as we look ahead at the timeline, you can see the board renews and develops the vision and mission. I know that is a point that we feel very comfortable with ours right now. So that part, we're kind of moving through that. But as you get to October, November, we'll be getting that landscape analysis reporting to the Board of Trustees and getting input on what we want the student experience to be. We'll bring you draft statements and ask for your input on refinement for those, as well as other stakeholder groups, until ultimately at the end of the year we have what that student experience is to be and how we're going to track to get to its obtainment. Finally, at the very end of the year, with that published plan, we'll also have a monitoring template with monitoring reporting to the Board of Trustees about each of those levers and what data would tell you that we're making progress in those areas. So a lot of exciting things in terms of academic alignment. We've had the classroom walks we've gone on so far this year, Mrs. Montoya, Dr. Holtkamp, myself, Dr. Richardson, several others, Mrs. Carabine, of course. The principals have gone with us, and it has been a fabulous conversation. And for example, at the secondary level and at the elementary level, it's about a 4 to 5 hour stint of time where you're going back to back to back to back, walking classrooms on a campus. So it's not just a couple classrooms, it is a lot of classrooms and for an extended period of time. But it's a great and very rich conversation with the campus administrators about what we're seeing and what the coaching might be and what to celebrate and where should we bring other teachers to come and observe a fabulous teacher. But all of that is a part of Texas strategic leadership. Again, with this being the core idea that the strong student experience is the core driver of student outcomes. If the students are getting a phenomenal experience in the classroom and in the school, of course that impacts their outcomes, their engagement, and just basically their quality of educational experience in our system, which is what we ultimately want to see. So those are the two big new initiatives in the district improvement plan outside of the 56 pages. We wanted to highlight those two for you. Are there any questions that we can answer for you?
Dr. Ybarra?
Ma'am.
Okay, Texas Strategic Leadership 2025-26. And the name of the other one?
Texas Instructional Leadership.
Okay, so if I was a principal and every teacher I'm involved with, plus all the administration, to encourage them to get something even more out of this, I would say, as part of this, you can put this on your resume. You can put this in your bio to show that you've been part of this. Even if they're a baby teacher that they're coming in to really work with, someday that will look very, very good on their resume.
That's a great point.
So it could be a little perk that after all this is said and done, you'll be able to put this in your bio to work for the future, and anybody from above that sees that you were part of these initiatives will really be impressed.
You're absolutely right. The Texas Instructional Leadership and the Strategic Leadership are both TEA vetted, approved, and widely known to be of high quality. And it's certainly something that would be a feather in their cap.
So from the top all the way to the newest teacher that gets to work with this, it's something that they can use.
Thank you.
I just have one little.
Yes, ma'am.
These are great. I mean, you know, we see these Texas improvement plan, these district improvement plans every year, right? So
Yes.
it's something the board is used to seeing. I so appreciate the positivity that you all have brought to this in trying to incorporate these outstanding programs for, I guess, the Texas Instructional Leadership is for 5 through 8, and the Texas Strategic Leadership is all
whole
the way
district.
through.
Yes, ma'am.
So I just want to commend you all for staying positive and keeping your eye on why we're here. You know, it's hard for me as someone who's not in the district every day, to hear what I hear in the news and to see all the things that I see coming out of Austin and TEA, and not get discouraged with, well, how in the world are we going to assess student learning when they are changing the assessments again? Not that we like the old ones, but, you know, we're replacing old. I think there were, what did I read, 15, and we're going to now 56 new assessments, something crazy. So it's hard to remain positive. So I want to commend our district leaders and staff for keeping the outcomes on the outcomes of what is that student experience and what do we want for all kids, regardless of all the noise that continues to happen around us.
I think that's the most important piece. Regardless of all the noise, what should a student get to experience at Bryan ISD? Not have to, get to.
Thank you.
Well, in the past, agreeing certainly with Dr. Harlan Wolf said, in the past, it seems like at least at some point, we would get the district improvement plan and we were supposed to read it, and then it was sort of like, any questions? Is there, anybody want to make a motion? And so I was, hopefully it didn't make you work too much more, but I did ask Ms. Carabine if we could just get something that we can sink our teeth into, and because we have these two, this grant and this other thing that we're involved with Region 6, that's great. We've got something we can sink our teeth into, and thank you very much. I know you had put a lot of work into it.
The work was already happening. I'm happy to do it. No
Okay.
problem.
Thank you.
No, I just want to close with what both of you just said, and thank you, Mr. Stasny, for the challenge. This is the work. Sometimes the required plans, if you will, from the state is, check the box, put it on a shelf, we're done, we can move on. This is the work at hand. School improvement and making sure our kids are reaching their full potential and identifying ways to best support, to grow and develop our staff is the work. So we're planning the work so we can work the plan and our kids can have the best experiences and the best outcomes. We want to be a model district. We hope that others will come into Bryan ISD to look over our shoulder to see the amazing things happening. So thank you for your support.
I move approval of the district improvement plan as submitted and authorize the district administration to make necessary adjustments to the plan throughout the year in order to meet the needs of students and respond to new developments.
Second.
Motion made by Dr. Harlan Wolf and seconded by David Stennis. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? It's unanimous. Don't have to list all the names. It's unanimous. All right. And thank you very much again. We're now going to go into closed session. Board will now convene closed session to discuss the following items as allowed by the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551.074, .0821, .0761, and .087. And the items are listed on the agenda. I'm not going to read them all. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as a result of discussion in closed session will occur after the board reconvenes in the open meeting. The time is now 7:53. Board reconvened in open session at 8:57 PM. No action was taken in closed session. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 8:57.